The Data Possible podcast is brought to you by Discovery Data. For more information about Discovery Data, please visit discoverydata.com.
Welcome to the Data Possible podcast, brought to you by Discovery Data. The Data Possible podcast examines how data fuels your sales, marketing, and recruiting teams to achieve success. Our goal is to provide you with tools, techniques, and best practices to help you close more deals, find new opportunities, and recruit better people and partners. Now, on to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Data Possible podcast, presented by Discovery Data. This is your host, Doug Heikkinen. Today, our guest is Discovery's own Craig Katz, who is the Executive Vice President of Partnership and Strategy. Welcome back, Craig.
Hey, Doug. Thank you very much. Great to be back, and hope all is well.
It is. We're here today to talk about Discovery Data's 2020 Year in Review report. It was a year dominated by COVID-19. People and firms across the financial services industry were there for their investors, transforming the way they did business almost overnight to continue to meet their clients' needs. Discovery Data's Year in Review paints a great picture of an industry that was able to adapt, evolve, and continue to grow. Craig, did we see the trends we're expecting to see?
Well, first, I agree. I think we certainly saw an industry evolve and adapt really quickly. You know, I kind of reflected back to our podcast conversation right at the front edge of the pandemic about a year ago, and we talked about how we thought, you know, the pandemic would really accelerate change across the industry and force us all to adapt. And I think that based on the many insights that we've summarized here in our 2020 Year in Review report really supports this and shows that the industry adapted maybe even bigger and faster than we would have expected. And, you know, just some specific things to call out or that I thought about here, you know, despite the pandemic, you know, as the report shows, it was a very active year. And I think highlighted by a few surprising trends. And the way I thought about it is, you know, before the pandemic shut down last March, someone told you that, hey, this is what's about to happen in the world, right? This pandemic is going to shut things down. It's going to restrict travel in so many ways in terms of industry, you know, with our industry, you know, travel, conferences, face-to-face meetings, things that I think we all would say we considered essential in the past and prior to the pandemic, and said that's what's going to happen, predicted the future, and then also stated, and by the way, in 2020, in the midst of this within our industry, you're going to see, you know, 32,000 people move to a new firm, actually 100,000 people overall when you count in and out of the industry plus moves to new firms. You're going to see record high RIA M&A in this year. You know, you're going to see the year-end total number of registered firms surpass 40,000 for the first time ever. And that the RIA channel was going to expand in terms of retail firms accelerating, the number of firms accelerating growth in 2020. It increased from 2.5%. It increased 2.5% compared to 0.5% in 2019, and that we'd also see overall AUM in the retail RIA channel grow 16%. Right? If someone laid that all out for you, you'd say, at least I would say, that can't be. And those are the real facts. That's what happened, and I think you know, really highlights what a amazing year in so many ways 2020 was.
Yeah, let's dig down a little bit into some of those facts that you gave us. Reps moved around at a pace that they did last year when we physically couldn't move is super interesting. What does that mean for recruiters and firms selling to advisors in 2021?
Yeah, I agree. To me, that really stood out. It was really surprising and amazing, again, considering how we know business was done in the past, to see folks at that continue to move at such a high rate, and doing so by essentially phone and Zoom meetings. And, you know, I think, again, it really speaks to how far and fast the industry adapted, you know, I think whether from a recruiting or distribution standpoint, and from our perspective, given our business, I think the movement in part really highlights the need to understand trends, have a good pulse of what's happening, because the unexpected, you know, may likely happen, and also having optimized data, you know, is really table stakes. One of the highlights for our business in 2020 were our market reach hygiene and integration services. I think as clients, more of them quickly realized that to start, they needed accurate data, a clear picture of the marketplace, and without it, there was just a lot of pain in terms of waste and or missed opportunity. And given that they couldn't do business in person, right? It was primarily their outreach and ability to succeed was channeled obviously through digital virtual outreach. So as I mentioned, 100,000 people moved, right? When you think about the impact that has on data, from a pure outreach standpoint, or the ability to effectively know who is where, and then more importantly, who fits your target criteria and how to most effectively communicate with them, right? Again, data is kind of a key foundation for that. And I don't think I think interesting topic of discussion. I see and feel and experience with many others across the marketplace. I don't think we're going back. I think there'll be some new normal where the digital and need to be effective, virtually is a big part of that. And then with accurate and robust data as the foundation, I think that there's really a need more than ever to be strategic and thoughtful about segmentation, targeting, messaging, and timing with outreach, and having a really strong data-driven digital strategy and thoughtful outreach that gets advisors the information they need when they need it is going to be really the key for success. Because I think as more firms are adapting, it's going to put pressure on other firms to raise the game, to be able to break through and succeed. Again, as it relates to our business, the way that we're thinking about things and what we're trying to do to help our clients succeed, we're bringing in new capabilities that power the trend insights more effectively. We're bringing in new data sets that help better target based on advisor intent, and being able to allow our clients to target better based on a more granular level, based on what advisors are interested in and researching today, and better time the outreach. We're also bringing in things like lifestyle and interest data to layer on top of our business profile information, which is a really important dimension that, again, can help with better targeting and segmentation and messaging, right? You kind of compare what I'll call the old school targeting, based on just the baseline data that we provide. So you want to target an advisor that primarily invests in mutual funds and has $100 million or more under management. There you go, right? And you call, send an email, try to catch up with them at their office or at a meeting. Today, kind of the new school, a new norm, if you will, what we're driving towards and looking to empower our clients with is the ability to not only target the advisors that fit that particular profile, but let's find those that are expressing intent in ESG ETFs, or maybe moving to a new firm, and who also like sailing, right? You add in those two extra layers and then think about what that translates into in terms of superior targeting, prioritization, again, the ability to create meaningful content and time that outreach, and ultimately results is significant. So yeah, I think, again, the world has changed, and, data will play a key role in helping clients, succeed.
Something else that really jumped out to me looking at the report was so many firms continued to join the industry in 2020. Has that been trending up? What's the data telling us? And do you think that's going to continue?
Yeah, so it is interesting, again, right? One of those counterintuitive trend points here. And as I mentioned, in 2020, for the first time, we ended a year with over 40,000 registered firms. We've gotten over 40,000 before, but typically it'll tail off before the end of the year. We had 3,271 newly formed firms. I think we've seen an increase in the overall number of firms year over year, and growth within the RIA channel, particularly consistently over the past 10 years. So I think the fact that it happened again during the pandemic, reinforces that it's a trend that we would expect to continue moving forward.
And we'll be right back.
Discovery Data empowers you to trust your decisions and your data. As your strategic go-to-market partner, we improve the impact of your data-driven sales, marketing, and recruiting to increase win rates and accelerate growth. Visit us at discoverydata.com to learn more.
We're here with Craig Katz, Discovery Data's Executive Vice President, talking about the Discovery Data's 2020 Year in Review report. And another statistics are really interesting when you get right down to it. But something else that really jumped out to us was RA assets grew by 16% last year. That's really interesting. Talk more about that to us.
Yeah, I think I, again, agree, right? It's one of those fascinating stats, but I think having more clients with more time and the uncertainty that the pandemic brought, forth, they probably wanted more, help and attention, and in general, increased engagement. And those discussions can, I think, help open up new opportunities and ways for advisors to help. I think it also speaks to, bigger picture too, the industry's response and focus on ensuring that their advisor clients and employees were getting the help that they needed to support those clients. But beyond that, I think it speaks again to, we talked about the growth of the RA channel, which, persisted through the pandemic. We saw an accelerated rate of the retail firm growth in the channel, again, throughout the pandemic. The retail channel attracted more advisors than any other channel. And I think that also the fact that, macro, right, in the midst of all this, another surprising fact, the market is, did extremely well, right, touching all-time highs, which I think also, really helps the AUM growth and that trend. It kind of speaks to all of that. So, I think there are a lot of, surprising stats and facts and trends that help explain and make sense of, that 60% growth in RA assets this past year.
You have a different view of the industry because you stand on top of all this data. And this next question, probably can't be supported by data, but is the work from home for advisors here to stay, or do you think it's going to be a combination of both?
Yeah, it's a great question. And one that many of our clients in the industry are thinking about and need to prepare for. My short answer is I think it will be a combination of both. It'll be part of this new norm. I think we're seeing more stories, right, each day in the news that's coming out from Advisorpedia and others about advisors realizing that they can efficiently do more and do it effectively, from home, including servicing their clients. I think, and what I want to say is this is an important area for us, right? This qualitative information and insights on top of the data that we have, as you mentioned. So we are doing a lot more to, survey and create qualitative studies. It's actually a new initiative led by our Chief Data Officer, Salim Khan, to bring, this important dimension to our data, to the market, and help our clients with these insights. But, because these are, it's dynamic, it's constantly changing, and it's obviously really important. We actually found that the majority of those that we surveyed were working from their office and not home. What I'd love to do is drill down into that. Are they going to the office and having in-person meetings, or are they just going to the office because it's a quiet place and they're sole practitioners or have small teams and they're able to go there in a safe way and work, but still doing a lot of the business virtually, right? So I think there's more that we'd like to know and learn, and we again hope to play a bigger role in that with our ongoing surveys and insights that we look to bring to the table.
If you had to pick one thing for advisors and others in the industry to take away from the Discovery Data Year in Review, what would it be?
Yeah, I'd say given the changes and lessons learned, improvements in terms of efficiently getting business done when we needed to, in the sense that we're not going back to the old way, I expect and hope that 2021, one, we'll get the pandemic behind us, and two, we'll be able to once again meet with, our clients and each other and network. But I think we'll find that it'll be more balanced. It'll be, really bringing together the best of the pre-pandemic and pandemic ways that represent this new norm, so to speak. And I think it overall will be more efficient approach to doing business, and overall a better experience for hopefully everyone in the industry, investors, advisors, and the firms that we work with that that serve these advisors. I think from our perspective, in terms of how we help our clients, we're investing a lot in terms of market insights and analytics, additional data sets, the hygiene and marketing services, and also looking to help clients through strategic partnerships like we have with Advisorpedia. And ultimately we want to help inform our clients to understand trends across the industry and help them continually adapt and strategically leverage data and be most effective and focused with their resources and ultimately succeed. So I think the key is just embrace the change and this new norm and continue to think about how we can best evolve and succeed, and then we will.
Where can people go to learn more about this fantastic report?
Yeah, thank you. So the Year in Review report can be found on our website, which is discoverydata.com, or feel free to reach out to us at contact@discoverydata.com.
Craig, it's been quite a pleasure. For everyone at Discovery Data and the Data Possible podcast team, we thank you so much for joining us.
The Data Possible podcast is brought to you by Discovery Data. For more information about Discovery Data, please visit discoverydata.com.